I'm D.Holley, and welcome to my channel. I'm a filmmaker from Detroit, Michigan, and like everyone around the nation, I'm a little troubled about what's going on. As far as America right now, I think that we're really divided, and the message that's been sent around to a lot of the American citizens is it's okay to be divided. And I don't share the thinking that everybody else does. I'm not okay with our nation being divided, and it's one of the things that we've been divided for years, and we just never seem to really address it. I think often what we do is we use race as a distraction of what's really going on in our country, and I think that race has always been this easy thing that people just say, well, this particular race should stay over here and that particular race should stay over there, and other people that's from different countries shouldn't come over here because this is our country. And I think that that's one of the things that we've always just been okay with, instead of having a common discussion about maybe we need to change some laws and maybe we need to change some things that's been in place for years. To me, from my personal opinion, what's really going on here in America is that we're going through a transition where we don't know the outcome. We can't predict the outcome in terms of the future, in terms of technology. It's moving so fast that we want to slow everything down, and we just don't know. We don't know. And I think what our government often does a great job of doing, compared to other governments, is they do a great job of dividing us. And like I said before, I think race is the #1 divider between our country and a lot of the countries across the world. We often build our perception on how we feel about a different race of people based upon what we hear on the news, based upon what we've learned over the years from our parents, and if they don't have more of, because I'm a millennial, so if they don't have more of a open personality like myself and like other millennials, where we come into contact with people of different creeds and colors and different race, and you have to work with them and you have to develop relationships with them. But the older way of thinking, the older crowd of people, the baby boomers and some of the other people, they kind of still have that segregated way of thinking because that's the way they grew up, and they often think that the way they grew up is the better way and the way they should teach their children. And if you often look at it, the way our country the way our country is now, a good percentage of the people that run our country, like Congress, a lot of our congressmen and the people in the Senate and the people that's in charge of your state, is often baby boomers. If you think I'm lying, do some research. Research your country. Research your state and see. I almost guarantee you at least a third of the country is run by baby boomers. And I think that us as millennials, we have this way of thinking of not really thinking segregated like that, but we have those old thoughts that our parents say, well, if you're black, you shouldn't do this. If white people come in contact with you like that, you should think this way and think that way. And the truth of the matter is that's often not the case. We don't, as people, we often don't want to do our own research. Because if we did, we celebrate Columbus Day, and if you did your own research, you'll know that Columbus wasn't the person that discovered America. Well, you can't discover something that's already discovered. And also, when he came over here, they called it the New World, if I'm not mistaken, or Newfoundland, or whatever the case may be. But he was in the Caribbean. So why isn't any of the Caribbean countries basically called America? It's called the Caribbean islands. But we just have this, mentality within this country that it's okay to lie, it's okay to segregate people in terms of race, and I'm not a part of that. What I try to do in a lot of my films and a lot of the stories that I want to tell is to show a different perspective of people and what people actually think. And sometimes I want to really bring people down to what the truth is. And the truth is, we're no different. We're all humans. We're all human beings. We're all people that's just regular. And if we can get to that point of thinking that we're all human beings and we want to help each other succeed and be successful in life, then we'll create a better world and a better future for our kids. And I don't think anybody is born racist or anything like that, because the greatest example I can show anyone is, if you have a child and you think kids just born racist, if you have a child, take them to the park. Take them to any park that may be a little integrated, where they have different races of kids, and watch how your child reacts to some of the other kids. He'll want to play with anybody that's out there. He or she, I apologize about that. I was telling a buddy at my day job in which I work at, I said, you ever notice that stories that's usually possibly about a minority, they always send an African American reporter, and stories that's kind of geared towards maybe a Caucasian person, because we all watch the news. At some point in your life you watch the news, and a story that's more about a Caucasian person, they'll send a Caucasian reporter, and they gradually do this in front of us, and we're like, no, this is not happening. You know, we're not racist. We're not a racist country. We're not a segregated country, and we've always been a segregated country, and then that's how it's been for years. But this year, a lot of my films that's going to come out this year is going to be based upon breaking down those barriers in which we think. You know, I say it all the time to my wife, and she gets mad at me about, because she say I talk too much and I always have something to say. But I say it all the time to her that changing your way of thinking is the hardest thing you can ever do in your lifetime. And if you can change your way of thinking, you can improve. You can become better. You can become stronger. You can have a different outcome for your life. You can achieve things. You can achieve your goals. You can achieve your ambitions. You can do anything if you change your way of thinking. But we're not often taught that way. We're often taught to have a narrow mind and only think straightforward, rather than, you know, something's in front of us, there's a barrier in front of us, we might have to go around, or we might have to go back to go forward. But we don't want to do that, because change is often a barrier of fear. And change and fear has always lived in the same house with a lot of people. And so people will just not achieve their goals and ambitions just because they're scared. You know, not judging someone by the color of their skin is fear. Not judging someone based upon where they grew up is fear. Fear that if you actually sat down and talked to them, hey man, they're not that much different than me, you know? And so that's what I want to explore this year. So today was the first video cast. I call it video cast. Everybody calls it vlog and all that other stuff. I'm gonna call it something different. I'm gonna call it video cast. So I'm looking forward to sharing a lot of the stories that I have, a lot of the films that I have to my channel. Guys, thanks for coming. Thanks for coming through and listening to the video. I know it's a long video, and YouTube is, we have such a short attention span, so just getting you guys for a couple minutes is great and awesome. So stay tuned for a lot of my films. My name is D.Holley again. I'm a filmmaker from Detroit, Michigan, and I'm looking forward to sharing my stories with you guys. See ya.